I think there's a healthy space to invite God into, and then I think it can become unhealthy.
Yeah.
Where you become a person of sorrow and not somebody who walks through the shadow of the valley of death. But you live there, you know, to borrow that cliche that every pastor says, like, I didn't say set up camp there.
I've never heard that.
Oh, every pastor I've ever.
That was the first time I've heard that. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I thought of it then.
What's up, guys? We are here, the Young Adult Podcast, with Juju, round 2. How you feeling?
Hi, great. I'm so glad that you said my name, Juju.
Yeah, you were so good the first time that we said, let's have her back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to be back.
Yeah.
She wouldn't leave, guys. And so here we are.
I'm just still
really
here. I've stayed here the whole time.
She's been officing out. No, I'm just kidding. And then we got Connor, your
Hello.
young adult pastor. Hello. Okay, Juju, in our last one, we didn't really do like a fun fact or anything interesting about you because Connor messed up your name.
Well, here's the thing.
I
I
think
knew
that
how to
was-
say her name, but I knew Casey didn't. And so I thought if I said it
Whatever.
wrong,
Yeah.
then Casey would agree and it would just show that she didn't know.
No.
Right, which is why she just called me Juju because she forgot again.
Yes.
So she was like, I'll just stick to the nickname.
Yes.
No,
So it was
even-
very intentional in the first
Whatever,
podcast.
you guys. It's like Kristen's and Kirsten's. Like, I could know you for 20 years and I'm still, every time I look at them, I'm like, I don't know which one you are. So for yours, I don't know still.
Okay. Juju's
Juliana. Okay. So I want you're in my small group, so I know some weird things about you. And so I want everyone else to know.
Great.
Can you tell everyone your favorite? Actually, here's my story that's going to get to the thing I want you to say. Juju loves chips.
I do.
Can you share the extent to your love for chips?
I've got a
I
great follow-up, so
love
remind
them.
me.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you mean? That's
Your
all
Christmas gift you
it's-
get from your brother.
Oh, my brother-in-law every
In-law.
Christmas gives me a trash bag. Like I'm not kidding. He comes in like Santa Claus into the garage, like from the garage, and it's just full of like every kind of chip from the grocery store. And that's my present. And then for the next I want to say month, but it's probably like week. I just eat chips.
Juju
No way.
She paints an image of herself like coming home and her dinner is like a bag of garden salsa sun chips
is.
and there's just crumbs all over her
And people
like
think I'm
that's her
like
night.
joking, but like it's all. John's like, "What do you want for dinner?" And I'm like, "Just chips."
No.
Like, she
that
called
so
me to
weird?
like come on the podcast. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh no, actually, I was eating gummy worms." What a rare thing.
Whoa.
Anyway, I have the diet of like an 8-year-old boy.
You
so
do.
that's where
Okay,
I'm at.
couple questions. One, are tortilla chips in the realm of chips?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know, like, for me, in my mind, there's a distinction between chips and tortilla chips.
Huh.
I understand that.
Yeah. Like,
One
when people
needs
say
salsa.
chips, I immediately think,
Doritos.
like, yeah, or like
Something
like
fancy.
potato or like something like in that realm.
Yes.
When somebody says tortilla chips, like, you're a psychopath if you just open a bag of tortilla chips and eat it without,
salsa.
or guac or something like
That's
that.
true.
You know what I mean?
They're a dipping chip.
Yes.
And that's like a distinct chip
Than a
versus just like a
casual.
snacking chip
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
could just eat the whole bag of.
Is
Okay.
a goldfish a cracker or a chip?
Cracker, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Okay. Amazing.
When did this love for chips? Sorry, hold on, I'm fascinated.
My whole life.
I just had my first bag of chips on Memorial Day in probably over a year.
What?
Chips are not a normal part of my life
I eat chips
at all.
every day.
Do you
All I
really?
eat.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
look forward to it every night. I look for deals of chips in all the grocery stores.
Wait, are you
Sprouts right
being
now
for
is
real?
For real. I'm always looking for a new type of chip. I'm looking for a healthier version of a chip that my doctor said I shouldn't be eating. Takis.
Sprouts right now has, which
Buy
actually,
one, get one?
yes!
Yes!
I just got the Boulder chips. They're so
Boulder
good.
chips. Okay, next segue. The chips I do buy are the Canyon Cut avocado oil
Yeah,
Boulder
so
chips.
good.
So good.
Amazing.
So good.
Okay. I guess I don't even know. Crinkle or
Oh.
like thin and crispy.
Thin and crispy.
Okay.
You eat a bag of the crinkle and then you eat a bag of
Okay.
do
Crinkle
one
is
and
annoying.
the other and you
Like
just get different textures.
normal or kettle cooked.
Normal.
Okay. All right. If you
Yeah.
had to rank
Okay, is this one?
like your top 3 chips, like if you had to eliminate
Oh.
all other chips from the world
and I can only eat
and
3.
you could ride with 3 for the rest of your life, what are those chips?
Wait, can I throw in a cracker?
No, these are chips.
Crap. Okay.
Wait, now out of curiosity, what cracker would it be?
Cheez-Its, like the Cheez-It Duos.
Okay.
The Parmesan with the sharp cheddar, so good. But then they had a limited time ranch, and I literally wrote Cheez-It, and I was like, how do you make these not limited time? Because I'm going to need them forever. And then they never wrote me back.
Hey, yeah. I'll be honest.
And now they're gone. You can't get them anywhere. I'm like so disappointed.
I just reached out to a cologne company that had a scent for a dog, and it's the best smell in the world. We bought it for our dog. And I was like, what would it take for you to make this for humans? Because this is the greatest smell I've ever had in my entire life.
Yes. Did they write you back?
They were like, we have a candle. If you want like the candle, but right now it's not like formula. They said, it wouldn't hurt you to wear it. Like it's like extremely safe because it's for like animals. Yeah. So they even like take out some of the toxins like that. I guess they just keep in humans. Like
it's actually really good for you to wear. Too.
Yeah, dude. True confession, Aaron and I sprayed around our house all the time. And
what is it called? I need to know. This is endorsement sponsored by this
Rangers.
Dog spray.
It's Ranger Station. I want to say it's called like they're just called like their bark line or something like that.
Oh, bark
line. So it's a spray that like is supposed to help like neutralize odors in dogs. It's got a ton like aloe, coconut oil, like all this good stuff for their fur in it. And then it's very lightly scented. So it's not like heavily scented. But my dog smells like a millionaire. Like it is the greatest thing in the world.
This is amazing.
Currently purchasing this as soon as the podcast is
yes,
over.
It's amazing. I sprayed on my clothes. Okay,
to places is so funny.
I DM'd them. I didn't write them a letter.
I sent them an email.
Okay, sorry, real quick, so we don't get derailed again. Like last time. Top 3 chips. Go.
Okay, I would say garden salsa sun chips, and then like.
Is that number 3?
No, it's probably number 1.
Oh, okay.
I love me some garden salsas. And then some type of jalapeno. Like, I don't know. I don't even know.
July.
I would love the late July ones, yeah. But and then the third, I would say maybe like a cheddar, like the Boulder Canyon thin and crispy cheddar ones.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then throw in a Cheez-It.
Have you ever tried? This is the one chip that I will go out of my way for. I thought they only sold them at Subway, if that tells you something. Miss Vicky's.
I love the jalapeno ones.
Wrong.
Barbecue?
Wrong.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Let me blow your mind here for a second. They have a dill pickle jalapeno chip.
Oh, okay.
So it is both spicy and vinegary.
Yeah.
And it is heroin to a chip lover's soul.
Okay.
Like,
I don't like pickles.
Oh
but
my
I don't like
gosh.
vinegar. That's like the thing. So and I don't like dill. So that's
give her a bag.
I was also about to just say right now for the first time ever, they're selling them at Costco in like giant bags.
Won't ever buy one of those, but thanks.
We'll gift you it for being on the pod.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy you one until you break down, try it, and then you'll be like, I was wrong about everything.
Every 7 years, your taste buds change. So I always like try to eat like a pickle every 7 years, and I'm like,
but you have a crazy palate. The fact that you don't like pickles, but you'll eat like raw
I don't like
everything.
vinegar, so I don't like pickled carrots or pickled anything.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. I love vinegar.
Okay, Connor, you're gonna die at this. So Juju was fasting chips in January, and
really hard for me.
I DoorDashed her favorite chips in the middle of her fast to be mean.
So it was like the afternoon. I literally opened up my front door, and there are 2 bags of garden salsa sun chips, queso, and then a salad. But that was cruel because salads gave me tummy aches.
Wait, no.
Sorry, so weird.
So anyway, it was the cruelest prank, but I also felt like oddly like really loved. I was like, wow, she knows me so deeply, but this is awful. But then when the fast was over, just
they're waiting for you.
Just down
no
the 2
way.
bags.
That is so funny.
Thank you. Is that like not like a bad person?
I was like I just opened the bag and I was like, what is this? Like mid fast, I was like dying for a garden salsa sun chip, and it was just like what cruel punishment.
That's such an out of left field one to be addicted to as well.
I totally agree.
It was because I fasted before, but from like Sun Chips, but then I can still eat like all the other chips. And I just felt so convicted of like, no, like you're giving up all snacks.
The fact that Sun Chips is a legit fast, like that's you putting something on the altar, which I believe.
So I was like, Lord, you have to take this. But then this time it was like all salty snacks. But I had popcorn. And then I asked Casey, I was like, can I have seaweed? And she was like, ew.
I was like, why do you want
go to town.
Fun.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right, should we dive in?
Let's dive into this.
So these are our summer podcasts, so I feel like it's okay that they're a little.
They are summer.
Unhinged.
We're laid back. We're fun. It's summer, young adult.
Chips.
Yeah.
July chips.
Whoa, yeah, sponsor us. Okay, the topic of this podcast is kind of stemmed from Mark 9 in verses 22 to 24. And we don't always start out with like, this Bible verse inspired this topic. But for me, it did. So there's this scene in Mark where this boy is possessed by a demon and his dad sees Jesus and is like, please help us. Like he has all these things. He's convulsing. The demon tries to kill him. And then he ends his plea with, if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. And Jesus says to him, if you can, all things are possible for one who believes. And then immediately the father of the child cries out and says, I believe, help my unbelief. Or, and that's in the ESV, and the NIV, it says, help me overcome my unbelief. And so for me, in my early 20s, I remember reading this passage and feeling, I was trying to figure out what faith actually was, because I think I had a really buttoned up view of like, what does it mean to have faith? It means, choose joy and be happy all the time. And, you have all these icky emotions like sadness and, God's all about happiness. The gospel is good news, not bad news. Like, why would you ever feel anything but that? And I had a really narrow view of what faith was and what having faith was. And then I read this and I was like, this man is in the midst of believing and unbelieving. And he admits that while trying to get Jesus to do something really important for him. And Jesus ends up like delivering the boy from the demon. And it's a really cool moment. And he honors this man's faith. And I had never really heard faith as, I believe, help my unbelief. Like I'm bringing two of these things to you, my humanity and then a belief that maybe you can do something based on what I've seen. Mm-hmm. And so the podcast today, we're going to talk about, I think, tensions and paradoxes in the faith. And I want to hear all your guys' thoughts, but I think a lot of young adults are trying to figure out, like, are my emotions good or bad? do they matter to God? Are having emotions like sadness and sorrow, can they coexist with emotions like joy and happiness? Do I have to name one and embody one, or can I hold both at the same time? Is there room for that in the faith? Is there room for that in the church? And then also like paradoxes that a lot of young adults are experiencing right now. You graduate college and you feel sad because you're saying goodbye to a lot of people and things are going to change. And you also feel so much joy because you did it. Like you made it. You had triumph. And I think if we don't create language behind these paradoxes or tensions, we can start to feel like confused or wrong or bad, or like I should be happy, but I'm also this. It's like, what if you're both? What if you're both and? So I think young adults, I want them to have like a both and towards faith. So just to kick it off, do you guys have any experience, like maybe now or maybe recently, but maybe early on in your faith where you were trying to figure out, can I hold two things that seem juxtaposed as I approach God?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a really broad question, but.
No, I mean, I still have one that I wrestle with like deeply right now. Heaven. Heaven both terrifies me and excites me. And it came from the conversation where Jesus is talking about how people aren't given in marriage, like in heaven, but they're like the angels. And that really like almost like made me not want to go. And I know it sounds like weird because I'm like, wait, Aaron's the biggest gift in my life. My children are like one of the biggest blessings in the world. And we see in Genesis, the only thing that God said wasn't good in creation was the like aloneness of humanity. And the garden is representative of this place that like God and man dwell in like perfect unity pre-sin. Why would God create something that's good and beautiful, and then because of sin, and then as he's recreating and bringing the earth back together, why would that relationship then not have eternal weight or value like it did in Genesis 1? Hopefully I'm not sending people down like the rabbit trail that I walked down.
Yeah.
And it like messed with me so much to the point where it was about 3 or 4 Easters ago, maybe. I was like, I don't know if I want this. Like, I don't know if I want heaven if my family's not going to be there, and they're not going to be my family, or they'll be there, but like they won't be my family. Like they won't like, my daughter won't be my daughter. Like that, I feel like that relationship is eternal. It's supposed to be eternal.
Yeah.
Like you know, like somebody, I want to say it's Erwin McManus. He talks about phantom pain.
Huh.
Do you know, like, you know, are you familiar with phantom pain? No. So like a lot of war veterans will like let's say unfortunately they'll like lose their leg or something in war. They'll lose their right leg, and they'll go to a doctor saying that they still feel pain in their right leg even though it doesn't exist. Their brain has this memory of what actually was that does, it's been like registered, cause their body like pain. And I feel like it's almost this like phantom pain of the soul of like, wait, like this was supposed to be eternal, you know? And so I hope I'm not like sending, wait, what? Like, yeah. But I read N.T. Wright's Surprised by Hope. And I will say it didn't give me answers, but it did give me hope.
Yeah.
And I have to believe that whatever God has in store is better than what I'm picturing or imagining.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel that a ton to this day of like, I think so often, I think one of the biggest heresies, a really strong word, like fallacies, I don't know, whatever, of like the modern church is this overemphasis of heaven and underemphasis of our humanity. Like God designed us from beginning to be humans, to like have this experience. And I think sometimes we downplay our humanity and talk about like, well, when we get into heaven, like, but it's supposed to be this cohesive, eternal relationship of like, we're both human and eternal. And I think sometimes we downplay that, and it's like, well, heaven will just fix it. And it will. There's so much that will be healed and restored and fixed in eternity and heaven. And I'm kind of mixing those words. I don't think they should be mixed up. But yeah, sorry. Now I'm just inviting people into my own personal crisis.
It's good though, because everyone has different ones.
But I think like the tension I probably wrestle with the most is anticipation for when Jesus comes back and makes all things right, and the beauty and fragility of our humanity, which is also eternal in some sense.
Yeah.
In how we we just quickly like underwrite right now because of the hope of tomorrow.
Yes.
But the hope is like for both today and tomorrow, if that makes sense. So
no, it totally does.
Yeah. That gives zero answers to anything that I like wrestle with. But that is the most recent and most consistent tension that I probably feel is both an anticipation for when Jesus comes back and the earth is made right, and then fear of the unknown of what that's going to look like, even though I know it's going to be good. You know, it like makes me nervous.
Well, there's that verse. It's funny you bring this up because I wrote this verse down, but I was like, I don't know how we're going to ever talk about it. But Romans 8:23 talks about like groaning inwardly as we wait eagerly. And that is such a tension that I think you're explaining. But I think a lot of people try to like solve the groaning inwardly. They're like, you shouldn't be because of heaven. And it's like, wait, why can't I be because of heaven? I think people don't realize we weren't made for heaven. Yeah. Wow.
Like we're from the earth, made for earth. And like God says it's good. Now, again, heaven, like, I don't know. Here's ask people I've worked with. I can go down a lot of rabbit trails. But like, I think there's just such a downplay on the beauty of our like right now.
Yeah.
And you talk about like the heaven invading earth and stuff like that. Like I feel that when I like sword fight with my daughters. Like that's holy ground to me. And just the thought of there might being a chance that that's not how it plays out. In some ways I trust that it's better. And in other ways it fills me with deep grief because like, this is how my life is supposed to be. Not with the imperfections, not like, you know, like the cancers of the world and the tragedies of the world, like, but there is supposed to be this eternal weight in right now and forever. Yeah. And so, welcome to my midlife crisis.
so depressing, but it's okay.
Juju.
Sorry, that took such a heavy turn.
No, I actually appreciate it because we were in our small group, and I'll get to you because I feel like you embody this living in this tension so well. Great. But I was talking about how I get like so annoyed. There's a book called The Liturgy of the Ordinary, and it talks about how like God can show up in the ordinary while you're doing the dishes.
I think I just bought that for Aaron.
Did
so
you?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was in small group, and sometimes I'm not that fun to be in small group sometimes because I get really angsty and I don't like easy answers. So sometimes I'll show up ready to like throw a fit about something, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just hate that like there's so many mundane aspects of life, like showering, brushing your teeth. It's so boring to me, all of it. Waking up, picking out clothes. It's just like writing emails. I'm just like, I just want to like always be having fun. I want to always be on like a high. Like I want to be in the ocean, like having my moment. And then Juju was like, well, God just shows up in those ordinary places, doesn't he? And I was like, no. And she's like, have you read Liturgy of the Ordinary? I'm like, no. And I know exactly what it's going to say. It's going to say that God shows up in the ordinary. And then I was like, but I don't think it's wrong that I have a discontent with ordinary. Yeah. And I was like, because I was like, I'm aware that like the car that I drive needs gasoline. And I said this in our group, and I was like, but I want it to have wings. Like I want it to not need it. I want it to fly.
Yeah.
And I, for so long, used to feel bad that I had that discontent. I was like, oh, well, I'm just not, you know, I need to like be okay with like what life is and all the things. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think I should feel bad for having this like, oh, I want it to be amazing. I think that is, I don't know, maybe it's eternity written in our hearts. I don't know what it is, but I resonate with you is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But I feel like you, Liturgy of the Ordinary. No, I feel like.
I love ordinary things.
Well, I literally, when I was thinking about this topic, I was like Juju needs to be on the podcast.
But I like love it. Yeah. I think that my tension's like opposite. I'm like, I can almost like disassociate into my like mundane life because it's like easy versus like pressing into like hard things because that feels like uncomfortable for me. Yeah. So like being like, well, I'll just have my routines and just stay in my routines because I can control all of that versus like, oh, I have to go join a group now. And that means people have to speak into my life and have to do all these things, and that's challenging versus like, well, I could just sit at home and speak into my own life and that will just be great.
Yeah.
So there is a flip side to the ordinary when I can become my own God or my own whatever because I don't need anybody else to speak into it, where I'm like, it's just my routines and these things. Do I see God in it? Absolutely. That's why it's comfortable for me. But I think when it's the opposite, is step into new things, challenging things, hard conversations, boundaries with people. I think that's when I am actually healed. I'm actually whole. Like I'm experiencing the flip side of it. So it can't be one or the other. It can't just be, well, I want a car with wings and like run around like a crazy person. Casey. I hate you. But it also can't be like you sit at home with your dog every day and just read books and like never do anything with others. There has to be like that medium between the two tensions. Yeah. You know?
You mentioned, we were talking before, how you could like have a tough moment in your day and sort of be like, it's a bad day. Like name it, label it. Like I think there's this tension too between accepting what is, and you even see it in the scripture where he's like, I have unbelief. And then he brings that before Jesus. How do you, like, what is that balance of like, acceptance, this is what it is, it's okay that it is this. Then also there's so much language in the Bible of like our agency and our free will, and like, well, you get to put on the new self and you get to hold every thought captive and you have the mind of Christ, you know, without spiritually bypassing someone's where they're at. So like if you have a bad moment, but it's a bad day, we're done.
Yeah, it's really hard for me. I'm a 4. We've talked about this, and I just feel like all my emotions like so much, and sometimes I get like flooded by them, where if it's like I'm really sad, it's like, well, I'm just going to be sad now. Like that's who I've become. I've embodied sadness. Like it's just me for the rest of the day. And John, my husband's like, you can have a sad moment, but like we can also like go on a walk and like ride a bike and like it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like you're gonna be sad till 10 p.m. tonight. Like that's wild. But I'm like, yes, I like feel it. I just need to like stay here. So I'm in therapy. Don't worry, it's okay. I love my therapist, but she's like, you embody these things for the whole day and you write it off. So she's like, you're not allowing God to like sanctify you in anything. You're not allowing like any transformative experience because you've just decided that you're going to be this certain emotion. And she's like, you like the freedom that Christ has given you is freedom to say like, because I think there's beauty in being able to like be vulnerable and like experience like deep grief and like lament or like awesome joy and like go through it all. Like, but to like experience it, like give it to the Lord, give it to like even friends or in group or whatever, but like be really vulnerable with that emotion, but then also say like, I am not in bondage to this emotion. Like I can actually still go have joy. Like there's nuance to it. Like I don't have to just be this thing all day. Like, and I think that there's strategy to it. So like I've worked with my counselor of like, having to like recognize when my body is going into like fight or flight mode. Like, what do I actually have to physically do to like cope with these things? So it's like, I need space. Like I need to go get into sunshine immediately outside, like immediately. I need to go take my dog on a walk. A lot of the times, like, and honestly, like my mom said, like I've been like this my whole life. She was like, I knew you needed a snack, which is where my chip obsession probably started. She was just like, she's crazy, give her chips, like make her stop. But I have tools in my tool belt where I'm like, okay, my heart is racing, I'm feeling defensive or like something's going on, and I'm really misunderstood, which is the 4 of me, right? It's like I'm like constantly feeling like nobody gets this feeling that I'm having. And so I go into fight or flight mode. And so I start to recognize the actual physical things happening in my body. And then I have strategies that I've worked out with my counselor to like re-regulate my emotion. And then from that place of like peace to go back to John or to my family or to my friends or whatever in work and be like, actually, this is how I need to respond to it. And I feel like in those moments is like where God really meets me. But also like the realness of sometimes like I'm like, I'm feeling crazy and I should be doing this. And I'm not going to do this. I'm going to feel crazy. And I like choose the emotion. And I feel like what I've found is like when I choose my grief and I'm like, I'm just going to like go there. And actually it's just going to be a bad day. And I feel like everybody around me is like, you can't do that because you need to get over it, or you just need to move on, or like you can't be sad all day long. That's not how the world works. And I'm like, watch me. It is going to be how it is. And I'll have like that moment. I feel like every time God is like, okay, like that's okay. Like I feel like God gives me so much permission to feel. And then he's at the other end of it. Like, alrighty now, like we're gonna work through that. But I'm always met with like hope at the end of it. Like he never leaves me to just die in my lament or my emotion of the thing. He's always like, I'm going to allow you to feel that because I think there's something that I experience with God. Like there's something happening. Yeah. But then he's like, and now I'm going to grab both your hands and we're going to stand up and we're going to move through this because I've got something even better for you on the other side.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Would you have characterized that as you having faith?
I think it takes a lot of faith to get vulnerable like that with God. I just think like when I am like in it and I'm like crying or angry or feeling whatever it is I need to feel with the Lord, that is the most terrifying place to be because it is so honest and so raw. And I feel so misunderstood sometimes by people, by my husband, by my family. Like, you just need to like not feel those things, or you just need to put on a good front, or like, you work at a church, you can't feel that. Like, you got to put on a happy face. And it's like, well, I'm not happy. So I like don't know what to tell you. And I can't lie. It's like always on my face. So it's like, if I'm having a hard day, I'm having a hard day. But I think that there's some beauty in it because I can let people into it. And I have often felt very alone in emotion growing up.
Yeah.
So I feel like a strong pull to emote with others so that others feel safe, that it's like, I still have a job. Like, I still have friends. I've got a good marriage, I think, you know?
Yeah.
all this stuff. But it's like for other people I feel like God has given me, and I've worked like years with a counselor. So if anybody's feeling emotions big, like go to a counselor. They're amazing. But I feel like through it, like I felt God give me permission that I want to, when I'm with friends and let's like close friends and people, I want them to feel permission to like feel things deeply with me in relationship, you know, because I think that's where true healing can happen.
Yeah.
You know,
that's good. That is solid.
That's awesome.
Juju's in my small group, and I do feel that. I do feel permission.
Feel all the
to
things.
Shut down all of your.
And honestly, if it's surface level, I'm like, that's cool too. But like, I want to go there. With you.
Yeah.
I want to dig deep.
I like what you said, that the ability to be honest, not the ability, I think the courage to be honest and vulnerable with God is like the epitome of faith. I think that is not necessarily a narrative that is in like the Big C church that maybe that I've seen growing up. I think it's getting better for sure.
Yeah.
But I think David, the psalmist, one of my favorite Psalms, I think it's 13. So the first verse of the Psalm and then the last verse, the first is, and David just was the man of like the most intense diary you've ever read. You know, how long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? And then his last verse is, but I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. And it's only 5 verses, but you wonder how long he was sitting writing that, and how long, maybe even in the silence, it took him to get to verse 1, to pen it. Mm-hmm. Like how long? Like maybe he was just feeling that, and then finally he could put language to it. And even as you read it, the Psalm, it's almost like he's letting it out. God's meeting him there. And then he's like, oh yeah, you are here, and you are, and you will again. So I don't know. There's a process and time with it, but Connor, what do you think about? I feel like you love King David. No, how do you navigate feeling one thing and like, okay, you have to go give a sermon on God's, hope or something. Yeah. But that day you felt the exact, opposite of that. Yeah. How do you show up to that space honestly and authentically, but also you have a job to do,
Yeah. I think we just live in a world, like a God created world, where 2 things are true at the same time.
Yeah.
God's a God of mercy and grace and a God of judgment. Like, he extends grace and mercy 1,000 generations and judges the wickedness of and both are true, and both are good, And so I think like we feel tension because we're like created in like an ecosystem of tension. Like there's, from the garden, like perfection and choice, like, you know what I mean? There's, we talked about this, I think a little bit on the last podcast, but like the kind of reality of the, like both, like, what is it? Like right now and not yet, or whatever that phrase is, like already and not yet, of like God's kingdom, like invading earth. So yeah, I think you just have to like come to terms with like 2 things can be true. Mm-hmm. There doesn't have to, like life just isn't black and white as much as we would like it to be. If you're asking specifically about preaching, that might be one of those ones where I walk off telling Aaron that's the worst thing I've ever given. Like my words don't match my face, you know what I mean? But no, I think you can know in your heart. And then sometimes I think you can preach faith into yourself. I think that's when I coach like young preachers. That's one of the first things that I sort of coach them on, is people tend to over prepare their content and under prepare themselves. Yeah. And I think there is a pivotal point where you have to put your content down and then prep yourself, prep your head, your heart, your emotions, like remind yourself of like the faith and the good news, like stir up your own spirit essentially. And I think that's what, in that specific example, preaching on hope would do in a situation like that. When I don't feel it, is I'm reminding myself of something that's true, even if it's not true for me right now. Yeah. It's true potentially. Like, like there's a reason for me to always have hope. And so Yeah, I think like you can hold two things true, and I think that's what makes life hard, but it's also what makes life beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I can love spending time with my kids and cry when I notice them getting older, when we do the little like measuring thing, like on the wall.
Yeah.
Like it's terrible. It's the worst thing ever. It is the worst thing ever, but it's also the best thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can both love Erin and not want to be in the same room as her sometimes, like that's just the reality of life. And I think there's an authenticity when it transfers over to the realm of our faith. I don't think the only reason I feel so free to talk about the heaven thing, it's not to mess with somebody's mind, but I think it invites God into like a sincerity of like my faith. You know what I mean? Of like, I'm not just going to pretend like this doesn't bother me or confuse me.
Yeah.
And maybe that's when it's like, God questioning Job, like, where were you when I set the stars like in the sky? Like maybe I'm asking questions too big for my paycheck, and I'm wrestling with that like human yet eternal nature inside of all of us, that like Ecclesiastes 3:11, that eternity in our heart, but not us physically being able to attain that yet. But no, I just think like, I'm just like, that's life. That's life. And I think as much as we want it to be black and white, joy or sadness, you can find hope at a funeral. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just the way God wired us. I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like I'm saying like 10 things the same way over and over.
Because our last podcast was so unhinged. We're like, lock in, everybody.
Yeah. We are Christians.
Yeah, we're Christians. No, I think too, I have this like question in here about kind of I think when I became a Christian, I was really disappointed that life didn't get like a lot easier. It's like, wait, what? Like, or I remember even the camp high where you go to camp and then you come back and then you're just like crying in the shower. You're like, oh, is God actually that good? I miss being with my crush with my hands in the air. No, but I do think too, Band-Aid language is really common in the church. And I think the heart of it isn't necessarily wrong. I think it's people really wanting to help people heal.
What is Band-Aid language?
Like, oh, well, have you prayed about it? Or when was, really classic responses to pain that I don't think the heart is bad. I think truly people are wanting to meet people with truth. Yeah. The truth about God, healing. But I do think that they want that on their terms and with their level of comfortability. Yeah. And you see Jesus, it said he spent time with sinners. Like he sat with people, he spent time. And I think spending time is like not a commodity. I think we all feel like we can waste when I can just give you a really good line or a really good verse or a this or a that. So I think Band-Aid language or even like a Band-Aid experience in the church is feeling like you said your thing and everyone was like, have you tried these 6 things to make it better? And those 6 things could make it better. Yeah. But I wonder if there's like a skipping of like a healing presence of somebody like sitting with you and listening to you and hearing you. So I guess Juliana, this is for you. This question's for you from our listeners, aka me.
I'm ready.
How do you feel like you navigate, have you experienced this kind of Band-Aid language in the faith? How have you in a kind way, like been like, oh, thank you, but like, here's what I actually need. Cause those are people that I think are trying to love you. And then also, how do you be somebody that doesn't do that? Because I've had students before, I've been like, so anything else I can do for you? They're like, actually, yeah, like don't try to fix it. I've got that feedback my first year as a youth pastor the whole year. And I was like, oh, I suck. So how have you navigated that as somebody who like attends and then also now works?
I feel like my brain started thinking about this because I was convicted that I did it all the time. So like I'm saying this from a place of like I use Band-Aid language all the time because it's flowery and it's nice and it's feel good and I mean it and I believe that God's actually going to heal and it's going to get better and it's going to get easier. But I think that there was such a vulnerability cop-out for me where I actually didn't have to do the work with the person. Yeah. I could just like, I'll be praying for you, but I won't, or like whatever it is. And if I'm like being super honest. And there is this book, you like sent me some of these questions and stuff, I was like, this entire podcast is this book. It's called Embodied Hope. I think it's by Kelly Kapic is the name. It's the best book, and it talks, there's a whole chapter on lament and a whole chapter on confession, and both of those I was like, I don't do either of these things well at all, which is interesting because I think I actually like lament with God, but I don't know how to lament with others. It was like a very isolated experience for me, and so I think the Band-Aid language is like your inability to like grieve with others. Like Jesus wept, like he was able to meet people in their grief and grieve with them without trying to like fix it. And I think that's really uncomfortable if you're honest to be like, oh, they're there and there's nothing I can do to fix it. I'm just here with you. But that empathy to feel that with somebody, and I've like experienced moments in my life where I'm really sad, and actually I think I wanted somebody to fix it, to give me like a 5-step process to like not feel like this anymore. But it's like they couldn't do that for me. And so to have these like mentors or wise women, who, even like my parents, to just like sit with me and be like, yeah, this really sucks. And I'm here. And then for them to like cry with me. I've had like girlfriends like sit down and like hug me, and they are hurt just as much as I'm hurt. And it's like wild. You're like, why do you feel this pain? Like it is not even happening to you. But to share in that grief with somebody is so transformative. And so to like meet somebody in lament in that way of just like being there, not saying anything, not trying to fix it, but just like hugging them and crying with them, I think does way more than being like, I have a 5-step solution to your grief.
Oh, no. Even going to small group, like we all, sharing. Nothing about that time with those people changed the circumstances or the situation or even the perspective. But there is something, and maybe I don't know if there's like a word for it. I know that's why God calls us to community, but there is something that transforms in me when I leave this space. And that like feels hopeful. Or lighter.
There's my favorite verse is Galatians 5:1. For freedom, Christ has set us free. Therefore, don't submit again to a yoke of slavery. And I was like thinking about it, of like freedom, of like what that actually like looks like. And I was actually like picturing like I feel like there's the Band-Aid language of like when somebody tells me like, because I've had a lot of hurt in my life, let's just say it. So, and a lot of those things happen through the church. And so church people telling me like, it's okay, you're strong, God's got it, give it to the Lord, this, that, or the other. I internalize that of, okay, I have to be strong. I have to carry it. I've got it. I can't like cry here. Like I just got to toughen it up and just get through the day and like whatever. And I'm so isolated in this experience. And that makes me feel like I'm in control. I'm actually like above this. I'm better than it. I don't have to like give it to the Lord because I'm strong enough to carry it on my own. Like, why do I need God for any of this? And then, thinking through this verse, I'm like, that's not freedom. That's actually me like turning to the enemy, like allowing him to place like a yoke around my shoulders where I think it's freedom because I think I'm in control. I think I've got it all figured out. All my ducks are in a row. Nobody's seen me crack. And it's an illusion of freedom where I'm like, Christ has actually given us freedom through, like, it's for freedom. Christ has set us free, where I'm like, that is the lament. That's the vulnerability. That is like getting into a group and sharing your grief with people and like actually being told like, maybe you're wrong about things in life or the way that you're living, and being able to be open to like those convictions of the Spirit through like friendship and through relationship, and opening yourself back up to relationship where like I've been hurt so much by my friends, and my counselor was like, the only way to like repair a friendship is through friendship. And I was like, ew, like I actually don't want to be friends with anybody anymore. And she's like, that's not how you're going to heal. Like, I was like, can I just stay with my dog at home? Like my only friend needs to be John. And she's like, no, the only way you will have good friends and heal that hurt from broken friendships is through friendship. And I'm just like, well, that sucks, but I need people to challenge me in those ways. And that's actually freedom, you know, not me buttoning it all up, putting the yoke on, thinking that's freedom. It's not, you know.
That's a good distinction. Oh gosh, I feel convicted.
Good.
No, I love that. And I think community, if you're a young adult out there and you're navigating tension, I think God wants to use his body to like help you navigate that. Your tensions aren't a reason to like isolate from his body. Which I see a lot of young adults doing. Like, well, how can I feel this and go to church? I remember when I took a year-long break from anything spiritual. I was 23. I'd graduated from college and I had this moment. I was a really strong believer, loved Jesus, following him, so all in. And I had this moment while I was driving in my car and it was like, what if you have an imaginary friend? Like out of the blue. And I had this existential crisis of faith where I was like, oh my gosh, what if I end my life? And I think every once in a while we all have those, like I die and then it's just blank, but I won't know I was wrong. Like I was just spiraling. And then I was like, well, in order for me to like faithfully navigate doubt, I need to like eradicate all the presences of faith, which is so stupid looking back. I'm like, because then it's like, well, I'm leaning on imaginary. Like, how could that make sense? So I did a year. I didn't do church. I didn't read my Bible. I didn't pray. And I read a bunch of books on theology and apologetics, and it was the most low I had ever been, which I think shows you how surrendered I was to Jesus before. And then I went to church for the first time after a year because I was so lonely. I was so lonely and isolated. I was like, I just want to be around people who maybe believe in something good. And I met this woman. She came up to me. She's like, are you in a small group? Because they freaking are like hawks at that church. Like they're like, whose small group are you in? Like very intense. Susie Lamu. And I was like, no, I'm not in a small group. And she's like, well, you need to be in one. Like there's a bunch of openings. We're doing a launch. And I was like, I don't think a small group can handle the amount of doubt I have right now. And she was like, you need to be in my small group because I love when people have questions. And I love hearing people navigate doubt. Like this is the exact group for you. And I felt like very disarmed. I was like, dang it. Like I thought, when you think you're being like controversial at church, you're like, losers, like you're going to respond like a judgmental person. And then she was so like open-handed, but not in an annoying way, not over the top. Like, well, we'll figure your little doubts out, honey. It was come as you are, like truly like, I have unbelief, help. And really what my spirit was saying was like, help my unbelief. I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. And I went and I hated it. And I had anxiety leading up to it. It must have been spiritual warfare. Like I felt like to get to that first small group and to knock on that door took everything in me. Took every amount of strength I could muster. And she was grilling and I was like, this girl grills. I love her. She's like, what's up? And the first night there was an 84-year-old woman, Annie, who just
was it a surprise? It was just you and her. She's like, your doubts.
It was me and her. And she had her seminary degree on the wall and she was ready to fix me. The first night she did. Yeah, she did. Well, there was an 84-year-old woman who the group was established, guys. This was the worst part. I was the new member of the established group.
Were you the youngest one?
And the youngest. And everyone was sharing like updates. And this woman had just gotten a cancer diagnosis and she was 84. And she had been following Jesus for like 50 years though. And everyone is sharing their lives that were honestly so much more intense than mine. And they had seen so many harder things. And they were faithfully trying to figure out how to hold two things, but like not figuring it out. They were doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is faithfulness. This is faith. Okay. I can keep going with this.
Yeah.
And so for me, it like redefined what faith is. Yeah. But I don't think I could have seen it on my own.
No, that's cool.
So I don't know. I just want young adults. I think I just see a lot of young adults like, I just stopped going because I had this one thing or had this one thought or this one feeling and therefore like disqualified themselves from pursuing what faith actually is. Yeah. Okay. So we have like 10 more minutes to close. I just wanted to go kind of practical and then I'll let you guys maybe expand on them. So it's basically like, how do you go to Jesus while holding two things? Intention, belief, unbelief, peace and anxiety, joy, grief, questioning, but then certainty in some areas, wanting to be close with people and yet wanting to be alone because people hurt you. All of those things, holding them. And so I kind of have a little list of 4. The first one, and I'll list them and then we can talk about them. One is don't pick one emotion over the other. Bring both into Jesus's presence. And that can look like going to the Psalms. I think David does this so well. And if you don't have your own language, I think you can lean on his. I trust you and I'm scared. You are for me and sometimes I don't see that you're for me, all of those things. The second one, confession and invitation. So name your belief and your unbelief, and then invite Jesus into the gap. So if you have things that feel like their intention, invite Jesus into the gap, which is kind of a repetition of the first one. Dang it, Casey. Redundance is one of my really great things when I write papers in college. They're like, you said that 80 times in 3 different ways. The third one is practice lament. And lament, Juju said it before, is a passionate expression of grief and sorrow. There's even a book in the Bible called Lamentations. It's actually very faithful to practice lament. Let's pause there. Do you guys have anything about lament to say about, have you had seasons where you've like practiced it? It's weird to say practice lament, but I feel like young adults maybe could benefit from like a story about that.
Oh man. Practicing lament,
or just like having, what does it look like to like grieve before God in a way that's healthy? Like even in the Old Testament, they'd have a moment. What did they do? They put ashes on their head,
they'd tear their clothes,
and it's like, oh my gosh!
And they put on woolen burlap that's like uncomfortable.
No way.
Oh yeah, I mean it was made to make you. It's like embodying the uncomfortability you feel inside.
Yes.
They put on clothes that itched. Literally.
To like match how they felt.
Yeah.
Oh, should people be doing that today? Like, what is a modern version of this?
Oh man, I don't know. I think, I don't know if we do lament. I mean, that's at least in modern church, like, in the same way that it was like very custom, but that might have also just been like cultural ways of like showing grief and stuff like that. I don't know if I've ever practiced lament. This goes back to my eternity spiral.
I love when you spiral though. Yeah, it's fun.
Like I created a very unhealthy practice, but it was healthy for my soul, where I would like so I read Surprised by Hope, and then I would put on all these YouTube talks of N.T. Wright, like kind of walking through Surprised by Hope. And as I would do that, I would go to Sonic and get a diet strawberry limeade. I wasn't trying to give myself diabetes, but like, but there's about 2 months where I probably went every day, if not every other day.
Yeah.
And just like listened and processed. Mm-hmm. And I think modern lament is that like a holy processing. I think there is like I don't want to say inappropriate way to do it. I think there is a difference between holding God to like your standard of morality and the way you think things should go.
Yeah.
We kind of see that in Jonah and a little bit in Job. Not so much in Job, but like kind of. I mean, like, why did this happen? I would have done things differently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is not an improper lament. I think that can be part of the process, but I think when you try to hold God to your standard, you're in hot water.
Yeah.
But I think when you're processing life, death, pain, questions, whatever, endings of seasons, beginnings of new ones, I think modern lament is just inviting God into that space and being okay, being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because that's, literally talking about putting the uncomfortable clothes on and dirt in your hair and ripping your clothes. Like, it's just a deep physical representation of like the inward turmoil you're feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that, we kind of try to faith it away. And again, here's another tension, talking about tensions. I think there's a healthy space to invite God into, and then I think it can become unhealthy.
Yeah.
Where you become a person of sorrow and not somebody who walks through the shadow of the valley of death. But you live there, to borrow that cliche that every pastor says, like, it didn't say set up camp there. It said
I've never heard that.
Oh, every pastor I've ever.
That was the first time I've heard that. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I thought of it then.
Wow.
No, I mean, I don't know if that's a sufficient answer at all.
No, it is.
I'll kick it over to you.
Because I have a backpacking backpack to just hang in the valley of the shadow of death sometimes.
Like,
and I think
I
think it's selfish. Like, if I'm being really honest, I think I do that because it gives me some sense of drama or control or like something with God that I can like use to show him like, look, I'm sad and you're not doing anything about it, and wallow in it. And I think God's so gracious to allow me the space over the years to have done that. But I feel like what's happening in my spiritual formation and spiritual maturity is saying like, that's not a full life. That's not a free life with God. And he actually has way more for me than to just allow me to stay in that space. And he's showing me in like baby steps to like, how do I pack up my stuff and get out of there? And then, but also like, that's not just a fluke. Like, oh, you got out and that was a really good moment. And there's actually more good moments. Like, so every time I think I'm met with just such gentleness that he brings me out, which you started talking about practical lament. And I'm going to share about my grief painting.
Yes, share about your grief painting. This is how Juju processes.
This was crazy. And you said in the last podcast that you loved painting. Was it the last one?
Yeah.
And so I was like, you're going to appreciate this. But I had so much grief built up because I feel like if I don't express it in some way, I just like, it's all inside of me like, oh, a volcano. And so my counselor, she is my lifeline, by the way, if you can't tell. She was like, you need to get this like out of your body in a way that's like healthy. So you'll go run 10 miles. I do grief paintings.
Loser. Just kidding. Nerd. I'm just kidding.
So I love to write. I love to journal. I think that's a really great way for me to like get the emotion out. But sometimes like my hand cramps and it like hurts and I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah. And she was like, I don't want you to write any words to it because that's something that you're like familiar with. She's like, do you like painting? You should try to just like paint your grief. And she said, you can write about your experience after you've painted, but like in the moment, like don't just like let yourself feel what you need to feel and paint on paper to see what comes out. And it was crazy. I put on like 2012, like old worship songs that like brought me back to a time, and I was like, oh my gosh, sitting at my kitchen table, I had like John, I was like, you have to hide from me so I can like emote. It was like this whole like it was this whole time.
I thought you were gonna say Simple Plan. Like,
I did too.
Hey Dad, look at me.
Tear my heart open.
Yeah.
Papa Roach.
That's the song I'm singing for your lip sync battle coming
good.
up.
Get ready.
So, but I painted and it was really, I showed it to John and he cried and was like, we need to frame this on the wall. And I was like, I'm not framing this. I'm throwing it in the trash can. Like, what are you talking about? And then my counselor told me I wasn't allowed to throw it in the trash can. So it's hidden somewhere. I was going to bring it, but it's like really dark. It's like a very dark cloud. It's like all black and there's like this little speck of like yellow and it's me trying to like push back the darkness. And it's so like I could laugh about it because it's so dramatic. It's crazy, but it was like I was able to go to this place of grief, of like darkness, honestly, that I hadn't been able to express through words or through counseling or through like, I don't know, friendship. It's like it was just this turmoil within me that I was able to finally like get out onto paper and then to visualize of like, oh, that's dark. Yeah. And then to feel like, Lord, I actually see you in this painting. Like I see you here. And then to see like John meet me in lament in there of like, that's what you feel, and have him like cry with me. And then my counselor just also say like, well, I'm so proud of you that you did that. It's like, how can I be sad, but like happy that I like went to that place with the Lord in the same breath. Yeah. But it was absolutely the most like transformative experience to like go there with God in a way that felt like there were some parameters around the grief where I was like, I've got dinner cooking. Like we got other things to do tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have this grief painting and like enter that space with the Lord and then be met by John with such like understanding and vulnerability too. And then to be met, with my counselor with so much pride and joy and to hold it all and just to have this glimpse of like, I think that's how God meets us in our grief and meets us in our lament of like, I think he's weeping with us, but he's also like really proud that we like went there, but to also not stay there, to be like, I'm really proud and like, let's get on out of here.
Well, you also got to meet the God that is with us.
Yeah.
And that like is alive. And that like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think sometimes we hold back those things and then God's like, wait, I want to show you that your husband cares and that you have a counselor and that like, you're not, it didn't destroy you.
And you're okay.
It didn't take you out.
You can go and like have pasta tonight and like watch a movie and like you're functioning still. And I think for so many years of my life, I felt like I am incapable of functioning as a normal, whatever, quotes, human outside of my emotion because I'm so consumed and raw and hurting and I'm hurting with other people and I'm hurting myself and I'm just, God, it's just like too much where God's like, I want you to feel these things. I've gifted you with empathy, but like I've also gifted you with freedom. Like you are free from this to like walk and lead a healthy life with boundaries, with like structure, with like, and these things aren't going to like be boring or like keep you away. It's like these things are actually tools so that you can live a full life.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I'm picturing too at the end of this conversation, this continuum. So I think there's people that there's sadness, there's grief, there's all these kind of places that we don't want to go for whatever reasons. And I think a lot of people avoid because they think it will swallow them and defeat them.
Yeah.
But like the good news is that it won't. Like with Jesus, like it doesn't have the final say, and it might be hard now, but it doesn't have the final say. It doesn't get victory, even though it can be really hard to endure. And I see people swing to either I'm going to let this swallow me and it's going to become my entire identity. And that makes me feel in control because at least I know what it is and at least I know what I'm dealing with. And then the other swing is I will avoid this at all costs and numb it and run away and be busy, which I swing to that one.
Yeah.
And then I love this third way is like holy processing and contending with the discomfort because he does bring you through it. And then I think that is his goal. And so
there's hope. There's so much hope. And I think once you experience that hope one time, it gives you courage to continue to like bring things to him.
Yeah.
And to set those boundaries and to create those disciplines and to like enjoy the mundane or to push into the hard because you experience God's presence and then his eternal embodied hope.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of it too.
That's so good. And then you see more of him and then you keep going.
Yeah, and then I'm like, this is awesome, but I'm crying.
But so I'm eating chips and there's crumbs everywhere. Well, we're already at an hour, but the final point I was going to say to kind of how do you go to Jesus with both is also hold space for a community. And we need people to hold hope for us sometimes when we feel despair. And there's people that can provide, that can be the hopeful side of that when you're in that might be the dark side. So love you guys. I hope this was helpful. It ended up being kind of a podcast about grief. God bless. There's some great resources. No, it was really good. There's some resources, you know, on our website if you're really in the pits of things and you maybe need a counselor or we have a lot of resources on our website, redrockschurch.com. And then if you need to talk to somebody, we all work here. And also,
out, but we're gonna go deep.
Join a group. No, but yeah, if you're in the midst of something really heavy, please do not remain isolated.
Yeah,
you have people that want to sit with you, and it is not too messy for the people of God to sit with you. And so yeah, all right, love you guys a ton. Go buy those, dill pickle jalapeno chips at Costco. Juju, thanks for being here.
Yeah, this is great.
Back to back. And go paint your grief and send all of your paintings to Juju meeting at redrockschurch.com. Okay, we love you guys. We are a young adult ministry, a room in the house of Red Rocks Church. We meet on Thursdays at 7:00 at the Lakewood campus. It's July, so we're here.
We're here, rocking and rolling.
Follow us on Instagram because there may or may not be a park night this week. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
and then,
not too totally sure.
You're not. Connor's going to be a pickleball. And then we also have services on the weekend, Saturdays at 5:00, Sundays at 8, 10, and 12 at all of our Denver-based locations. We love you guys. Like, subscribe, share. God bless. Bye.